Hi, guys.
Here we are. Let's start by saying YouTube. What's going on? It's your boy Buddha back in the building. Here we are again for the 8th week, guys. 8th week.
That's a lot of weeks.
2
That's a
months
big
of
number.
it.
That's
Unbelievable.
2 months we've been going strong with these podcasts. I'm with my honorary co-hosts, Tweacz
What's up, guys?
and TheKryptman.
So, friends.
I don't know why. It's just a habit for me to go into deep voice mode when I say your name.
It's totally fine. When you say it, you got to say it with your whole chest. You know what I mean?
Right. Or just with this guttural sound.
Really?
You got to say my name like you mean it.
Oh, okay now. Anyway, we're here again a week after the 2nd-year anniversary. Has been in the game just about a week and 2 days.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I still haven't done anything. Really. I've just been testing out Kyle, working on Kyle, trying to work on the monster bounties.
Yeah.
Because that actually does take some focused effort. That's one of the steps to getting the free-to-play UR arc. I'm going to say it again, free-to-play, but we can get into that maybe later in the section, unless you guys want to start there, or we can start on Kyle. What are we thinking?
I'm totally fine with starting there because I got it yesterday.
Ooh,
Baby.
congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What was your what was your progression as the bosses? So,
I did
which
everything.
one did you do first? Which one did you wait to do? Which one struggled? Which one did you struggle on?
I did everything except for... So, Galanova was probably the easiest of the new ones for me. Luckily, that was thanks to you.
Why is that?
Because you hung out with me and helped me build my Lena, specifically. Shout out to Lena. Amazing in that fight. I also got Great War of Ruin recently, which makes that a whole lot easier. So that was really great.
I want that so bad.
But yeah, just sort of did all of them. I had a lot of trouble with Mother trying to do it the intended way. So instead, I went full ape and did V skill canceling attack animation with Moonlit Murder. Had a support Kyle with Moonlit Murder. Just absolutely went to town. That made that fight much, much, much easier.
Wow.
Shout out to Virzeal there for lending me their support.
Very cool.
Then
That's how I beat it the first time. Was I used Moonlit Murder V and just
yeah. Oh yeah.
I didn't even actually cancel. It was just like it just happened. It was like
Machine gun.
Oh my
Rap,
God.
rap, rap.
I didn't know Moonlit Murder V was a thing.
Oh,
That's totally.
I heard. I remember talking about Moonlit Murder de Grogue, but not V.
Moonlit Murder everyone. Moonlit Murder anyone is usually a pretty good call.
So I think I'm up right now, right?
You are.
Moonlit Murder is that arc that gets you a 0.1% chance on any regular attack hit to automatically break the boss.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Blood Moon.
Blood Moon. So Moonlit
Oh yeah,
Murder,
no, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, Moonlit Murder is ridiculous for if you, especially in the Mother fight, which is kind of cheesy, right? Like,
I see.
you can break.
It's 100% not how it's intended to be done.
100%. But on a regular, I guess it's physical attack, but physical skills have a much lower chance, but regular attacks have a 0.1% chance, so 1 in 1,000 on every hit. So you can, and it just murders the incomplete break bar and puts them directly in a break if it happens.
Right.
So, and you can bypass the each HP threshold if you use it against that boss. So it's kind of like the slow and steady way to do it, but it's a lot faster than, in my opinion, a lot faster than bringing break units and trying to break them. Because
100%.
The break bar is just so huge in that battle. Even Merity, the best break in the game, takes a long time to break it. So this is a very viable option.
All right. Well,
Yeah, it worked out real well. And getting lucky a couple times really made a huge difference in it.
Oh yeah.
But that went really well. And then you know where else I used Moonlit Murder and it was absolutely amazing was Dark Palace. Actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought that was going to be a whole lot worse. I threw on Death God. I threw on Moonlit Murder. We threw on all of the Affliction stuff on DXR. We buffed Sahagin right up. Oh my god, Sahagin does so much damage. It's kind of goofy how good Sahagin is. And then I made
Trishula
Kokol
got
my healer.
Sahagin. Yep.
Yeah, no, just threw them all together. Didn't even use Trishula. Used, I think,
No.
Dragoon Spike
Yeah.
and
Wow.
the Dark King Horn or whatever it is.
Yeah,
The
Dark
elementals
Fiend
just
Home.
aren't that
Horn.
bad.
Yeah, the half Trishula.
The half.
And I mean that went just fine. I'm so glad I'm done with those fights and I never have to revisit them again, even though I didn't complete all the bonus objectives.
Do you want to pull up the arc tweaks just so we can
For
see
the
what it
UR?
looks
Guardians.
like? Yes, the Guardians. It looks so cool.
Wait, hold on a second. Why don't I just hold on?
Nice. Nice. We're going to see
Well, there.
that armor. I want it so bad. I have such a long way to go, though. I have such a long way to go.
It's really not that bad. Like, you have to beat all the world bosses, but I mean, we should have done like 3 or 4 of them already, right? Before this came out, we had the opportunity to do all those, and then the new ones, like, yeah, it's kind of a pain because you have to build like specific stuff for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, honestly, aside from the mother fight, it's really not the worst. The mother fight is the worst,
Right.
in my opinion.
I had a comment saying, basically, this update is good for your end game veterans.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I would say, yeah, it's totally the case. But that's what was needed. There's a plethora of content for new players to do. We didn't need new content in that area. We needed what came with this 2-year, I think, for sure. Agreed?
I would agree.
Well, of course
I
you
think-
guys would agree.
But that's the thing. Like, we needed stuff for us to do, but it also is stuff for everyone else to do. Like,
Correct.
It's stuff to build for, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, it gives you a purpose in the game.
And it gives other things that weren't relevant purpose, like your general units.
Right. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It makes people actually build other units in the game, like monster units,
Totally.
general gacha units.
Yes.
It's yes. Very, very cool.
Would you mind breaking down exactly what it takes to get here? Because there is some confusion with what arcs are needed. I got a lot of backlash calling it a free-to-play UR arc because it is locked behind some specific general pool SSR arcs, which I do have an argument for that. But
argument for that is specifically yes, it's still locked behind that, but they're still completely in the gacha pool and free to play. And you just kind of just like luck if you have them or not. So I don't know. Has it been completely confirmed, Krypt, about the arcs that you need? I mean, I know Lugan for sure. You need.
Is that how you pronounce that? Lugan? Lugan?
Okay, it's called Lugan.
Lugan.
Lugan, something like that.
Not Logan.
I don't know. Logan. No, definitely not Logan.
No, not Logan.
Why don't you get 10 crystals? All right, I'll take it. Whatever. I don't really know why I got 10 crystals. All
Look
right.
at that monster
So-
on the board.
So yeah, I don't know why I got 10 crystals there. Maybe can I do it again? Can I get 10 more crystals?
Right?
Hold on a
New
second.
bug?
Let's talk about
Oh
this.
my gosh,
Give me
imagine
Give
that.
me 10 more crystals. Give me 10 crystals.
No way. No. You must have beaten a boss before you revisited this
Unlucky.
screen.
No, because I went in here and got the UR. So I mean, I don't know.
Oh, that's odd.
Odd, very odd. Anyways, so this is the monster bounty board. This is what you're gonna find in a Dawn after you. I think it unlocks after you beat the rest of the monster bounty boards. Is that true? Do you
Jawline
know
said
the
something
bug?
about having to complete the other ones before that, so I
Okay.
would assume
I heard
so.
that as well. I had them all complete already, so I don't know if that's completely true.
Same.
I have heard an inkling of that. But if you have to, that's just part of it. There's guides out there. Jabberwock has all the locations for all of the easiest, most efficient quests to get all those. So look at his spreadsheet and look at his completion list, and you can easily get it done within a few hours. But once you get all those done and get to Dawn, the monster bounty, the monster collector manor, which is, I don't know when it unlocks. It might be when you finish the Great War Ruin site, because I know this was unlocked pretty much whenever the news story dropped. So I'm not sure exactly when, but there will be this little thing over on this little island in Adan, and you'll be able to click it and get the monster collector's manor. You'll be able to farm the world bosses. Now, if you've been playing for a while and you've beaten all the world bosses before this dropped, you would have already beaten Loug, which is one of the bigger ones. Which he was already before this. He was in the last update, or the last 2 updates, or whatever, back in January. And that battle's not like too hard. It's just like you need a support and stuff, and you don't need a support, but if your units aren't built, you need a support. M-Theria works great. Lambda, people should have beaten already. That it was on Solaris. That's been out for a while.
Bring a friend DB Ray. You're good.
For a friend DB Ray, friend G Loug, yeah, friend M-Theria, the usual, you know. And then Pablo is going to be one of the main 7 bosses. Those are the 3 that have been in the game. The most notable ones that are not on this list on the bounty board are Jalabanga, who arguably shouldn't be on this list because it's kind of an easy boss. Dharmakara, also a little bit lower tier on the world bosses, and then Reaper, the actual Reaper, the one that everyone has trouble with, Delamar 2, the neutral damage one, but he's not on this list. So if you haven't beaten him, don't worry about it. You don't need him. You don't need to beat him to get the UR.
Why do you think they excluded Reaper?
I think they wanted to add. You know what? I can't begin to assume, but it is kind of weird. Maybe they didn't want 2 Reapers on the two Phantom or Reapers on the bounty board. I don't know.
I feel like that fight might still be broken, and they're not trying to force people into a broken fight like that.
Maybe. Maybe. So those are the 3 bosses that were on the bounty board that we've already seen in the game that most people, not most people, but a lot of people have beaten already. So when we came to the bounty board, there were 4 new ones. Now, what are they? The first one we have is Galanova, Dreadworm Galanova. That one's going to be found and this is all considering you should be doing story first, and to unlock the little ship you travel on and all that kind of stuff to get through the end game triggers to unlock all of these.
I'm sorry, that is not a pirate ship, my friend. That is a crypto galleon. A crypto galleon.
There's a crypto galleon you need to travel on to travel to the little remote hut in the southeast corner of the map and all that kind of stuff. And you need to be finishing story. I believe you need to be finishing story to unlock that stuff.
Those enemies have some pretty beefy HP pools too, so be prepared to be there for a minute.
It's essentially God mode. They're essentially God mode maps where they have 3 million, 4 million HP and stuff like that. So, but they're not terribly difficult. It's just they're just HP sponges. And then once you get to that remote hut and unlock and do all of the things, you start unlocking all the triggers to get the monster bounty board stuff. So Dreadworm Galanova, I believe, is one of the easiest ones you can unlock because it is. I don't think it's arc related, unless I don't think it is at least, but it's near the black hole. You need to be. There should be a little notification on the screen whenever you finish that ship. So once, let's just go to this ship down here. So this is the crypto galleon. Also, why do I have more stuff in the shop available? I don't know. Estamar, the crypto galleon. That's what you're going to be traveling on. It goes around the map. It's 4 or 5 different stops, and then it stops here at this remote hut.
It's like a fun little world tour.
I literally bought these already. All right, whatever. It's fine.
What's going on?
New Sky. It was New Sky. That's the one that everybody's having trouble with.
Oh, they must have fixed it then. So there's a bunch of sheet music available in here, a ton, and there'll be. All right, I'll get back to this anyways. All right, so you get to the remote hut. Once you get here, you pretty much have unlocked most of the triggers for the end game stuff. This will show up over here. You remember, if you guys have played for a while and have gone through story, there was always this black hole over here by Holy Castle at all, and no one knew what it was for. That's what it's for, the Grave of Heroes. This is going to be the Galanova fight, and I'm just going to flex my full requirements.
Your minute and a half, no death run there,
which is on YouTube if you want to go check it out.
Yeah, it's on my channel if you want to go check it out. How I did Nobody Dies requirement because it's almost impossible.
It's so dumb.
It's because the boss just nukes you. Anyways, you don't have to get all 20 crystals. but I'm gonna try hard, so I do it, of course.
You also don't have to do it all at once. Your Deathless run doesn't have to be your under 3-minute run, you know?
Right. So, the coolest thing about this part is that your usable units are all either permanent or the shift forms of the permanent. Gotcha. So, Stinkilly is in here.
So good.
She's, I mean, you see the units that are available, and the commonality is that they're either the units from the permanent gotcha pool from a while ago, like not including, I think it's not including Merity, not including Yashimaru. Anyone before that is, oh, the Yashimaru's in here, never mind. So not including Merity, any permanent units before Merity that are in the gotcha pool are going to be usable. So that also means you can't use main character shifts. You can't use any of the collab, DOH, stuff like that. So if you haven't already, you're gonna need to build some of these units. The best units, in my opinion, are G-Lucio for sure.
Yeah.
Stinky. You got Logia,
Lena.
BBShin, Tinkili, Lena, and those are the main ones that are still like relevant in this day and age. Really,
Infinite
right?
MP Lena.
Infinite. There's an SCT. There's a way to do an SCT battery. If you have Glass Record and you got the Maiden's Banquet arc, yeah, you can do an SCT battery, Lena. So I also have a video on that on my YouTube, so you guys can use that.
So shameless.
That was a good bit. I mean, listen, I'm on that for a reason. So I don't have to explain the build. You guys can just go look at it. It's pretty awesome. But that was not locked by an arc. That's Galanova, right? So this is the Galanova fight. You get this cool Radiant Soul Crystal as a reward. You got $5+ attributes, HP plus 10%, $30 stats. I mean, it's usable. It's not like amazing, but it's
pretty good.
usable.
I mean, we don't have a lot of like SCT recovery accessories, right? So it's kind of unique in that the 10% health is a pretty fat stack of health on some people.
Yeah, depending on who. Kyle.
Oh my god, it's so much health on Kyle. It's so much health on Kyle. He is a thick boy.
And not only that is the art's kind of dope. So like I think it's very cool. It's one of my, just because it's cool looking, I equip it on people. Honestly.
That was the first one you got, right? That was the first new world boss you did.
I did Lugan first.
Oh right. You did the tower.
And then there's 4. So we're through Galanova. Galanova is the one in the Grave of Heroes, which is going to be a tough battle for a lot of people because most people haven't. I mean, not a lot of people, but a lot of people have not built those units to be very good yet. So you're gonna need to concentrate on those a little bit just to get up to par. The next one is going to be, so I'm gonna go by the ones that are like kind of relatively easy to unlock. This Loug Mekia is relatively easy to unlock. Now, to fight Loug Mekia, you're going to need to get to the Lugan Tower, which is, you have to unlock it. The way to unlock it is you collect all 55 chests in the map. You have to collect all 55 chests. Now, those locations are, again, on Captain Jabberwock's spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. If you have trouble with it, you can find it. And it's at 55, it's going to give you the Lugan key. Now, you need to have the Arc. I believe you need to have the Arc Ancient Weapon Lugan, which is an SSR Arc, and it's got like Celestial Mass and stuff on it. If you don't know what Celestial Mass is, you probably don't have it.
Also, before you move on, can you just explain, because someone just asked me about purple chests. I know you need a treasure map, and once you get that, I think it's treasure map 10. Okay, go ahead.
Purple chest. There's like a little bottle right up here by Blast Furnace. So I'm clicking stuff, my fault. There's a little bottle in the ocean over in Blast Furnace. I think it's like a little northwest, like it's right over here-ish. I'm not sure. I can't really tap to show you, but it's like right north of it. It's sitting in the water. There's a little bottle, right? It's gonna give you a treasure map. Go in your inventory, look at the treasure map. It's gonna show you a thing on a mountain. That mountain is right here. And then I can't click on this again, but you're gonna need to click on a part of this mountain and keep clicking because it's kind of touchy. And it'll give you a magic key.
It's that the tip. You got to click just the tip.
Just the tip, yep. You're going to need to click that, get the magic key, and that will unlock all the purple chests. So there's purple chests. I think there's one right here. Yeah, this one, like especially. This one right in the water, right in the center, right there. Those chests will be unlocked by the magic key. So that's how you get the rest of them if you haven't already done that. And all of the end ones aren't. They kind of scattered them across the map. I can't really tell you which the end ones are for like the last 55, but yeah. So once you get off 55, got that covered. Once you get off 55 and you have the SSR Loug arc, this cool thing that we've always seen in the map is gonna be available to pick, or it'll have that little like notification, like those little 3 little yellow lines that you're gonna be able to unlock. It's called Ancient Weapon Loug. Now this is kind of like, I mean, it's in a tower setup, right? It's from 10 floors every map, but it's literally just robots and like God.
You better bring Robot Slayer. It's like 98 floors of robots.
If you bring God Slayer, Machine Slayer, and a Thunder hitting unit, like you're gonna run through it.
You're gonna be in nice shape.
And they're pretty thick too. So I will say, not Death God, but like insta kill techniques, like Yashimaru, work great until the last on the boss wave. So like 9 out of 10 battles, he's just gonna run through, which is what I did for like the test for a little bit, and like in the mid tiers. And it was just,
you know what else is really good here? You know what's a really, really good arc here? Moonlit Murder. You're welcome.
Oh my god!
There we go.
It's good everywhere.
You don't need to break the bosses. They're just robots that run around. I mean,
no, but it gives you an instant kill chance on fainted enemies. Oh my god. It also gives you 50% bonus damage on blinded enemies. Just saying. I'm just saying. Moonlit Murder, amazing arc.
Anyways, after you get to all the floors, so it splits it up a little bit at the end. There's 5 floors and then 3 floors at the end or whatever. The final 2 things are, I can't see anymore because I've already done them, are a battle against Mekia. Now, Mekia is kind of an annoying battle because she yanks one of your, what would you call it? It's kind of like the battle against,
it's like the sandworm thing where where the sandworm swallows one of your units. They exclude them from the battle. They remove them.
Yeah, it's going to get completely yeeted. And you're only going to have 2 units. I think at one point she ate 2 of mine. I only had 1 left. And then I was just like sitting there with Shift a little bit, just like, all right, I guess I'll just goddess kiss. Honey,
this is fine.
Like, what are you going to do? So, yeah, so you'll fight Mekia, and I mean, it's not a crazy battle or anything. If you got into endgame, you'd be in endgame, you should be able to beat it. But then the second battle
doesn't hit as hard as some of the other like instant kill ults in the game. It's pretty survivable.
Yeah. Okay. So you'll be able to fight her once, and then once you beat her, you get the summon, and then you get to fight her again for the upgraded summon. And that counts as, once you beat that one, that counts as one of the bosses on the ability board.
I see. So the second fight counts as the monster board.
No, you only have to do the first one.
Oh, okay.
I've only done the first one and I'm done with it, so you only have to do the first one.
It's just the first one.
Got it.
I'm just saying for completionist purposes that you can get the upgraded summon by doing it the second time. So that's Mekia. Those 2 are relatively simple to unlock. Dark Palace, on the other hand, not that easy to unlock because it's not really straightforward. So the way to unlock Dark Palace is, and to fight this Demon Lord Ehdel, is going to be, you need to get the Dark Palace key. Now, to get the Dark Palace key, you're going to find in the remote hut a little thing called the Treasure Map 11 when you buy it. Treasure Map 11, this thing. When you buy it, it's going to give you, look at your inventory, it's going to give you a spot on the map to get a little treasure chest or whatever. I believe this spot right here, right in the center of the screen, these 3 little pillars, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure yeah?
That's where.
So once you click these 3 little pillars right in the middle of the screen, you're going to grab the Dark Palace key. Now, it's not going to immediately unlock the Dark Palace yet. The Dark Palace key is going to unlock a subquest over in Blaze Garden. You'll have a subquest to do. I forget what it's called, something or other. And then once you do that subquest, it will trigger Dark Palace to unlock. Now, where is Dark Palace? It's right here on this little island, southwest of the Fairies Lab. And it's going to look, again, it's going to be the blank tower, and it's going to have those 3 little yellow lines above it, and you're going to be able to click it. I'm going to go Dark Palace. Cool. And I haven't done the requirements yet because I just don't really care to do that.
Not worth.
I mean, I can go do it. Like, it's not really a big deal. And I've been playing around with it. It's just like, I haven't, since completing it, I just like haven't gone back. So, which, I mean, 332 is not a horrible time in the first place. I would give myself that. So,
I will say
this is going to be a monster unit only area. All right, go ahead. Sorry, my bad, Krypt.
No worries. I was gonna say the second to last level was actually harder than the last level. Like the boss itself is not
100%.
that bad, but
100%.
like the second to last level, the enemies have a billion health. It's not actually a billion, but it felt like it.
That felt like it. Yeah.
So be prepared to use Sahagin's ult like 50 times.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Stop doing Mekia. Anyway, so the cool thing about the Dark Palace is just like the Guardians of Heroes, you're going to need specific units. What specific units this time? Well, only monster units, which is so cool because it forces us to use monster units for the first time in the game ever, and especially for like battles that they're not like it's not some gimmick battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like an actual battle that you need to do damage with. It's a little bit of a gimmick, but the MVPs of this, which I think everyone should agree, is DXR dual wield with Death God and Cactus Hammer.
Yep.
Okay.
All the researches as well. I just slapped literally all of them.
Anula Mouth and Goddess Kiss if you can handle it, just to replenish your casting Anula Mouth. Because everything can get stunned. And you can
sure can.
Great crowd control. And guess what? DXR's regular attack pierces, and it's AoE. So if you jump them all together, you can just continuously Anula Mouth stun them, stun, silence, stun, curse, blind. Everyone's literally has so many STDs, and then you can put tear them up on your DPS, and it's like easy game over. Like that's all you have to do. And Death God clears every wave because he is like, how many hits does he have on his regular attack? Like
it's like 14.
It's like
if it's
14.
dual wield, it's like 14. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a ton.
And it's very
so
quick.
many.
DXR is the OG ailment inflictor because of that much regular attack, and it's quick and it's AoE.
Wow.
So it's like
That's
hits
awesome.
so much.
DXR here also has that ult that provides a barrier, which is super useful. And because it hits so often, and because you can stack all of the enemies on top of each other, your ults should be going off left and freaking right. You should just always have your ults up on basically everybody. But yeah, DXR is I would say not optional here. I think DXR is the hard carry, and makes this
hard
like
carry for sure. And
much
if you want to
easier.
if you want to make it challenging, don't use DXR, but like just use DXR.
Yeah.
If you're first time through, just use it. It makes it so much quicker.
Okay.
Anywho,
Affliction DXR, very good.
Along with DXR, whatever unit you're maining is going to get that boost to their ult based on regular attacks, and DXR hits so much with regular attacks that if you're maining Sahagin, it will further increase the ultimate gauge that you're going to be getting
left and right. Just throwing them out.
So many
just passing them out.
So,
I love it.
I believe I used Elder King Mask on DXR just because I wanted that ult gauge improval. I mean, I probably could have taken it off if I wanted S3 for like the big break and all that kind of stuff, but like it didn't really matter.
So the S3 is really good for break, right? And the S2 is actually a gather on any enemies that can be like flinched. It'll put them all in front of DXR to let you rail all of them at the same time with your regular attack.
The only issue with that is it doesn't work on boss waves because they're unflinchable. So if you're gonna be using that on boss waves, it's not gonna.
So my boss wave solution was you line up everybody on the bottom of the screen, right? So all the enemies come down. You use Sahagin's ult, and it pushes them all into the corner. Then you use Enola Melf, and then you use DXR to stun them all. Boom, done, easy.
That is the strat.
They gather.
That's what I use. That's what I think. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna use that. Like we all through it with DXR. DXR is the champion. I mean, you can use DXR. The best DPS, in my opinion, in this is Sahagin for sure. And then use whoever else you want. I mean, you can use like a Phantom for Gaudio, Pockball. You can use whoever the heck. Like it doesn't matter. You can use Gobble for break if you feel like it.
If you don't have an arc with Enola Melf on it, Phantom has it in their tree.
Heard.
So if you are lacking that, because everything else is pretty easy. Like everything else for that setup is pretty easy to get. Like all the researches come off of common arcs.
Dual wield,
hammer comes.
Dual wield and hammer equip.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it.
Sweet.
It's pretty awesome. But the reward for this is kind of interesting. So it's called Garbage Discover, and it's really, really funny. So the way it works is it's solid defense in mind. Very good stats on that.
Big
Physical
stats.
magical attack plus 10%. Very nice. Straight up damage cap plus 1,000, just straight up. But
what is that?
it says men/women only, HP minus 66%. So you're getting
that's
two-thirds
so
of your
funny.
HP dropped, which is hilarious.
If you're not a beast.
Unless you happen to be other.
So what does this work on? So unfortunately, this doesn't mean human only, right? This doesn't mean sorcerers and soldiers.
Gender specific.
It's gender specific, right? So if you're going to be going into... Now, each unit has a profile, right? So it's going to tell you if it's female or male. The only units in the game that aren't female or male are going to be... There's a few of them. The most obvious ones are going to be the monster units. This is directly useful for monster units. And then you have a few units that are like unspecific, which are Popoi and Rimuru. Those are the only other units in the game that are like don't have a gender. So this is useful on both of those casters.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. I mean, again, you can use it normally on anyone, but it's just going to cut your HP by 66%. So, like, Lagarbos and Senku are just going to look hilarious with, like, 3 HP.
All right, so how about this, though? We're doing a 1 HP Sage Emperor Sekis build that uses this. Because his max health doesn't matter, right? He's going to be sitting on 1 HP anyway.
I understand.
That's where we're coming from. But I like that it's a non-gender thing because that does kind of keep it to more of the monsters, and because it's a reward from the monster dungeon, that feels really cool.
It is.
But it also plays in with the I don't know if there's like a worthwhile combo here, but there's also a Secret of Mana arc where if you have a man, a woman, and an other in your party, there's like, you know, some number of buffs that happen to the unit that has it equipped. So maybe the other meta is coming.
Maybe they give us some other units.
Shift beasts.
But I actually do think Shift Zekis is a good shout because sometimes you do want him straight up at 1 HP.
Oh yeah.
And it's a lot easier to get him there if his highest HP and you can get damage on him is super, super low. So yeah, I think that's a good shout.
And it's damage cap raise in the armor slot, which how often does that happen?
Yeah, that's interesting.
This is the first time we've seen that. I'm pretty sure.
Kind of funky.
There's some like paid clothing and stuff that has like some cap raise on it, I believe.
Clothing? I don't think so.
Really? Weird.
Really.
Fair enough.
I don't think it's ever been there. I think this is the first time. Because I was racking my brain when it first came out, and I didn't think it. There might be one or two, but like it's obviously not prevalent.
Right.
Let's just collect these real quick in case I forget. Anyways, back to the Monster Manor. So that's Dark Palace. We got Galanova, Loug, Mekia, and Dark Palace covered. Now, the hardest boss, arguably the hardest boss that has been released in the new update.
I'm going to argue that this is only a hard boss for the same reason that Reaper is a hard boss, and it's because the AI in this game wears their pants on their head. They're so bad and so dumb. So dumb.
Anyways, this is called Auto Defense System Mother, which is the Mother. So apparently, this is the last one on the bounty board that I'm going to discuss. So this one apparently is locked by the Abandoned City SSR arc, I believe. I don't know if that's been completely confirmed, but I know Deimos was trying to get information from other people to see if they had it unlocked or if they didn't. So he says it's confirmed. All right, so you need. This is going to be all. This is again all after the Crypto Galleon trip.
Crypto Galleon.
This little that you've always seen. You pretty much this little like weird underwater city that you've seen by Badal since pretty much the start of the game. That's been there. You can finally click on it if you have the Abandoned City, this the arc and the SSR arc leveled up, or I don't know if it's level 2, 4, whatever. But you have to have that arc in order to unlock this. You'll be able to click it. Again, it's going to do like the 3 yellow lines, and you're going to be able to click it. It's called the Lost City no Nobakura. What is it? Well, it's just going to be underwater battles against... is there fish, or is it... I can't remember. Is it fish, or is it...
I think it's robots.
Robots the whole time? Whatever. It's underwater battles. You're going to be slower. It's going to be... It's whatever. They're clearable. But the final boss battle is going to be one of the more annoying things that you've ever fought. There's specific mechanics to it. I know Meteman has dropped a video on it. I've dropped a video on it on the correct or the implied, I guess not implied. It's not implied at all. It doesn't tell you any way to do it. But the actual mechanics of the battle. And it's super annoying because it's different than any other battle that we've seen so far. In which case you don't want to hit the boss at all. You want to just destroy the mobs that it spawns, which is very annoying.
And then there's also the mechanic of the mobs having to die. There's one of the waves where the mobs have to die at basically the same time, or they keep respawning like back and forth. So not only do you have this, hey, don't hit the boss mechanic, which we kind of saw in Reaper, right? Reaper had the punishment mechanic where if you run up and auto him with a melee attack, it just kills you.
Oh.
Yep.
But we've kind of seen that kind of discouragement before. But this is next level because it can prevent the fight from ending.
Yep.
Jeez.
Yep. So it's a very, very annoying battle, and there's some bug in it. Apparently, I don't know what it all entails. Honestly, I don't think it's that much. I think the mechanics are pretty static in which how they mean to do it. You can jump in, and we talked about this before. You can jump in and use Movement Murder and break him immediately, and every time you break him, you can bypass an HP threshold because he has like 4 or 5 HP thresholds. But
yeah,
that's
an annoying number.
You can break and finish it pretty quickly, but the intended mechanics are kind of tough to do because you need to not hit the boss, in which case the AI is very stupid and you're going to hit the boss. So I used 1 DPS and Imerity, and then used Stinky and Emtheria to get my best time and do the correct way. And I think this time is my video on my YouTube. So if shameless again, if you wanted to check it out, you're more than welcome to. But it's kind of like it's a very end game build. My units are all very, very well built, and I have a good strategy for it. So if you want to check that out, you could. But that's definitely the battle that people have had the most issues with, just because people like to brute force it, and especially me. When I walked into it, I wanted to brute force it, damage everything, and I didn't know why it wasn't working because it was stupid. And it's just different. It's a very different battle, and that'll probably be the most challenging of the board. But
I even went into that fight like, I'm going to do this by the mechanics. I'm going to build Sage Zekis, and it's going to be perfectly fine. And it worked like okay.
Yeah.
But because I even did the Allure tank Emtheria thing and reject on everybody else, and like the enemies were still just everywhere.
Wow.
Like they would walk around and randomly one-shot people and cast weird magic because they've got all the different colors of magic going on. And I was like, all right, well, I tried like 3 or 4 times, and this is one of the most frustrating things I've ever done in my entire life. Time to go ape shit. And then we brought in the break mechanics and everything like that, and we finished it in 1 try.
100%.
So
100%. Mula Murder is an MVP there if you decide to do so. You're not going to get the 3-minute clear, but like, who cares? 20 gems.
I mean, with good enough RNG, if you had like a support with Moonlit Murder, you could probably get there.
Sure, I would agree with that, but unlikely still, even with RNG. But this is the arc you get after finishing the board, and that was a hell of a tangent coming from, hey, what's that UR arc?
Here's 40 minutes on how to get that UR arc.
So let's discuss, is it truly free to play? And here's my argument that it is.
Absolutely.
Aidis has given us arc selector tickets periodically. So obviously that's a little situational.
Even with RNG, you only need 2 arcs to do this.
Yes, but people will fight you tooth and nail, because let's take Krypt's argument on, who was it? Lena? Which unit have you pulled once? Lila.
Yeah, Lila. I've never pulled Lila.
You've never pulled Lila.
Tens of thousands of times I have pulled.
So,
have I ever gotten Lila?
For the
an
one
OG A1 unit.
Right. For the one person that is Krypt but has never pulled Abandoned City. You know, that's the argument, that you cannot claim it is free to play.
Well,
if
you
it's
do what I
not
do.
Behind
you
RPG.
I used my selector to get her because I didn't have her.
If
whether
Aidis,
100%,
go ahead.
Whether 100% or not, you don't. If you do or do not have the arcs, it is 100% free to play because it is in a permanent pool and barred by luck. Okay, but it is 100% free to play. because at the end of the day, you're going to get gems. You're going to be pulling. You're going to get this eventually. You can get this. Everyone in the game can get this with spending 0 gems, spending 0 pay gems.
I would say
It's just a matter of luck.
Right. There's a luck wall, not a paywall. Right.
Luck wall, not
so
a paywall.
You can luck into it. But I mean, it's like Venom Dragon Babalad. You know, if you don't have that, you can't do that stage.
The story, the subquests.
Yeah, to get the summon or whatever. But yeah, over the course of time, you should get all these things because they are in the main pool. Even if you're just getting them like chasing other stuff or on daily free pulls or whatever, you should. There are going to be some number of people who don't. There will be some number of people who never have all of the things that they need to get this arc, and that feels really bad for them. But it's a free-to-play game. You know what I mean?
And that's okay, because this arc isn't even that good. It's like the UR arc, but there's no arc skill. I mean, either word is probably the best part about it, but like, I mean, kind of niche, it's useful in PvP if your units die, but like, are the skills that good?
Yes. You want me to tell you why? Fast speed.
Fast speed.
Okay, that's it. That's it.
I love fast speed so much.
Everything else, no bueno. Like, I mean, Hero's Bond is going to be, okay, useful, sure. Light Shield, okay, useful and niche. Everything else, no.
Hero's Bond is some flex stuff.
Yeah.
And is this like a usable arc? No. No, it's not. It's really not.
This would probably be pretty good on, like, the boss of the game. Unfortunately, to get to having this, you have to have already beaten the boss.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
because like the god type minus 15% or whatever, and minus another 10% from god bosses is pretty good. The fact that it's all attribute, skill, and magic damage 15% is okay. That's pretty good.
Right.
That's a pretty solid thing. The coolest thing about it is that starting at level 1, all units will give their shift any experience they earn. And that's cool, like, if you're still leveling units and if you've still got shifts and stuff to level up, that effectively doubles your efficiency in leveling certain units. And if you guys know anything about us, it's that we're huge fans of efficiency. Unfortunately, neither Tweacz nor myself has any use for this, I don't think, because I feel like all of our shifts and stuff are already leveled up.
Yep.
But in general, like, for people who are not sitting on 50, 60, 70 plus level 100 characters, this is going to increase your grind efficiency pretty big way. So more free gems for everybody, which is great.
And that obviously ends whenever you don't have a shift form that you can level up, because most units that you're gonna have to level up are gonna be straight up the units themselves.
It will eventually run its usefulness. Yeah. But it's cool that it's level 1 that it does that, because it means it's not very expensive to use that ability. Unlike Theo, where theoretically you have to be burning like 500 souls per run to get maximum benefit out of it. But really, we're running it for free because, whatever, it's fine.
It's fine.
Theo gang.
Anyways, what did you want to talk about, Buddha, since we have taken over more?
No, I mean, that was it as far as the UR arc goes. Shall we jump into, or back into, Kyle?
Yeah.
Kyle.
I know you and I were discussing this before, and we were trying to hold back because there's just
Chad Kyle.
No,
well,
him and I were just BSing a little bit about Kyle and the people's thoughts, and jumping on why Kyle and how to use him. So,
right.
Udo, go right on.
Oh man, I don't even know.
Where do we start?
I don't know. I guess we'll start with my experience. Right, I put out a full DPS Kyle build, and it was not a majority of feedback that was like this, but I found it interesting that some people just don't think that dual wield is justified on him. I don't even know. Pick a comment to start.
So, here's the thing: single wield, the old adage, single wield versus dual wield, right? Now, I watched Zero's deep dive yesterday.
Very good.
last night. Yeah, so I actually watched the entire thing. It was actually very informative. He did a good job explaining single wheel versus dual wheel. The biggest thing about dual wheel, yes, it's 14 SE. That seems expensive, right? Seems expensive. What are all of the best things that come out of dual wheel? Double hits, aka double potential damage cap. You get double the break, which Kyle is a very good breaker. You're going to want to use that. Double sustain on Proud Force hits. Double proc of extra hits, like his physical attacks can with his paid. With any other regular attacks, you get double the procs. What else, guys? This is all for 14 SC. That's a lot.
I think you're pretty much hitting it.
You're hitting it, and I think what's hard to really value about those things is they're more underlying. They're not benefits that are as in your face, unless you're paying attention, as seeing a bigger number pop up on your screen. You guys know what I'm kind of saying?
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
So,
but I'm fairly certain that like 10 minutes after we understood how Kyle's traits worked, somebody made a spreadsheet and was like, all right, here is the point in his passive where the damage cap raise from dual wield just obliterates any chance for, single wield to keep up. And I agree.
Which is immediately.
And okay.
It's immediately.
Okay. So that point, I don't think we need to hammer that to death because we cover it in almost every podcast, DPS and dual wield. So the argument further from that is that, okay, sure, dual wield allows you to do more DPS, but I want to capitalize on Kyle's, and we're talking about PvE right now, where I'm not really speaking on PvP. In PvE, people say, I want to capitalize on the defense aspect. And to that I say, okay, but when we're talking about bosses with timers on them, the goal is to burst them down. If you can survive for 10 minutes, that's great. But if you can't burst the boss down, what's the point?
Right.
The best possible defense is all of your opponents being dead.
So
just saying.
Especially in PvE.
So you have a bunch of his stuff, right? So his uniques, okay. The only things tied to his uniques that are like defensive, right? Chivalrous mindset. And that only gives you a defensive boost to the armor equipment. It's not even like his defense. Yep.
Yeah.
It's the armor itself.
It's like holy aura for your armor.
Yeah, great. Awesome. What's that, like 100? Like 100 more defense? Like you're not going to need that. But his whole kit doesn't have the defensive stuff. Like, I mean, auto protection, great. I mean, it's his traits, right? So, but here's the thing. In his kit, what are you losing by using dual wield? I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. By keeping him single wield, by buffing his armor, what are you losing by doing dual wield? You're losing chivalrous mindset. What else? Instant strike
and doppel.
A 1%, 5% chance of getting.
So it's a 1 in 20 chance. It's a 1 in 20 chance to get like 150%.
It's
non-existent, or something like that. Whereas on dual wield, it's 100% chance for a 100% cap raise on every single hit.
Yeah.
Plus whatever you've got, plus whatever accessory or armor you've got gets double value from it, right? So like if you're single wielding and you raise your cap by 1,000, your cap has gone up by 1,000. If you're dual wielding and you raise your cap by 1,000, your cap has gone up by 2,000.
Yes.
Agreed. I think people just don't understand the math behind it. Like they're not looking at it objectively.
So here's the thing about
he's a bruiser, not a tank. Anyway.
dual wield, right? You don't lose this Night Lord passive if you do go dual wield in PvE, right? So you're making him a tank. He keeps this tank ability. He keeps it very, very well. This does not go away at all costs. But again, if you want to make him single wield tank, that kind of stuff, defensive, all that kind of stuff, you're not losing much by using dual wield and making him a tank. Now, if you don't make him dual wield, you more than likely, you're losing out on double the break. Now, why is break important for him? First of all, great break values.
Because he's a breaker.
S2 and S3, phenomenal break values. But you lose out on half of the break. Now, why is that important? Well, this Hero Wings ability is great for breaking. If he breaks the boss, they spend 50% more time in break, which gives you 50% more time to obliterate the enemy. In break, bosses lose a lot of resistance, both physical and magical. They lose a lot of the times in special event quests. They lose a lot of elemental resistance, and so you're going to be in break is the most optimal time to nuke a boss. So if you don't dual wield in PvE, which break is only relevant in PvE, if you don't dual wield, you're losing out on another part of his kit. I think people forget that this is like a big part. Is he has really, really good break numbers.
That's a big break skill. That's a massive break skill. Plus 1.5 times your break time. That's crazy.
Yeah,
for boss breaks.
I mean, we have an arc that does that, but only 30% more, and that's like the time clock arc, the eternal clock.
Porque no los dos? Just stack them on top of each other.
But you don't need to use that because I used it when he first came out, and I broke Knucklefer in multiplayer, and he just sat and break for literally 12 seconds. It was hilarious.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, in PvE, he's gonna be dual wielding. You don't lose much out on that. You gain so much from it.
And I think a lot of
then he's still gonna be tanking. That's the thing. He is better sustained through Proud Force. He gets it. He gets the whole Krypt package in 8. Why would you not want to amplify his Proud Force recovers?
Well, here's another thing I want to add, almost just to play devil's advocate to what we're saying, and something I can understand maybe from where some of these comments are coming from. If you're taking Kyle, whether with dual wield or not with dual wield, into your main story normal typical wave stages, and like you can one tap the enemies with then it's not going to make none of these arguments matter at all, because the significance of the mechanics that you're describing don't matter in those situations. So yes, it's going to look cooler when you see a higher
30K
right, one crit that hits over 30K and it one taps the enemy and you clear the wave in one strike. Then it's like, oh yeah, I don't need dual wield. No, you don't need dual wield in that situation. But take him into Pablo, take him into these endgame bosses, take him in, and there's an extreme difference in performance.
Yep. And that's like the end goal, right? So those are the end game things you are building for. So you're not going to analyze a unit based on the easiest content in the game. You're going to analyze them on the hardest content in the game. Which
I mean, as Theria can clear the first level in the game entirely by herself, I guess that makes her amazing. Clearly she's amazing, but that's not why.
Yep.
Right.
I agree.
Right. Is your Kyle damage capping against Imperial Guard Commander 3 stage? Sure. Is he then damage capping against Reaper?
No.
Right. So it's also a matter. There's so when someone asks or says, "Oh, well, I'm damage capping with single wield," why would I need dual wield? What are we talking? It's the analysis of these characters is very specific and situational. You almost have to define your terms of evaluation. So, yeah, I think that about covers it.
I will throw that in there. Kyle is fantastic in the Reaper battle, by the way, because he doesn't get flinched by fire.
Oh, facts.
I mean, not as like a
not as
right. It's
right.
going to be elemental. Trishula doesn't work in the last 25%. So, but as a lore tech in Reaper,
is he your new Bayland? Your new tank Bayland?
No. Bayland's still the homie just because, but Bayland's still the homie because he got that 2,000 cap raise.
Yeah, so I want him
for everybody. So I mean, but I did bring him in there, and it was a lot of fun.
Okay. Okay, so enough about that in PvE. A little heated. Now, in PvP, yes, single wield all damn day. and take advantage of his defensive capabilities to their fullest, I'd say. Oh, your stream just ended.
My stream ended.
It did.
Oh, let's put her back up. Hold on a second.
Okay, so yes, moving into further findings, and obviously, Krypt, I always like to hear you because you spend, I'd say, the majority of time, the most time out of everyone here in PvP.
I probably spend the most time out of anyone in PvP.
Correct.
Unfortunately, I don't get to do a lot of testing right now because I am delegated only to fighting bots because there's nobody that's even close to being in the league that I'm in. Except for Ichigo. Big shout out to Ichigo for doing some hard climb there.
Dang.
But yeah, when I was testing Kyle, he's extremely good and super annoying to fight against on defense.
Guess I'm banned.
Zero, I wanted to bring up his comment that he said, Kyle does fulfill the role of your traditional tank in the PvP setting because you essentially have to go after him first if you see him.
I still go after the healer, but yeah, pretty much.
Well, because Zero's argument was if you don't go after Kyle, you basically, whatever unit you do go after, you have to still kill Kyle because of his HP that he transfers as a barrier.
I would say if there's a Kyle and an M Theory on the same map, I'm going after M Theory, 100%. I would rather burn through that shield and whatever she gets way more than going after Kyle and having him God healed the entire time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kyle's just an absolute nuisance and I'm gonna just throw this out there because I know people are gonna put him on defense. He is one of the more annoying people to put on defense.
Absolutely.
That's why we gave him a 9.9 in arena. Like.
Oh, I didn't even check the tier list.
9.9, bro. He's very, very good in all content.
Absolutely.
Especially PvP. Because in PvP, you also are going to be single-wielding him now. So he's going to get all of those buffs. Like the Chivalrous Mindset. The Dual Hander, or whatever it's called.
Doppelhander.
Yeah.
Yep. But, I mean, he's just he's one of the best units in PvP. Bar almost
right.
nobody.
I mean, he's number 2 by that ranking. Tyria 1.
Yep.
Kyle 2.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Accurate.
He is absolutely meta breaking, and you know what? He's not a gimmick necessarily. Like I know V's gimmick, which he's a 9.8, which is still fantastic for him. His gimmick is ailments, and that can be defended against if you have enough ailment resistance, especially with the new formation coming out.
It's so good. Paladin's so good.
V especially is becoming. He's still incredible for people that don't bar against it, because if you can stun, silence, curse, stunning curse especially, even illness, because people don't bar against every single ailment. Even illness is still very, very viable. Yeah, he's still very good. It's just like you can defend against it. Kyle, you can't really defend against it. It's an allure, very defensive build. He is very, very good crowd control and interruption because his skills are so wide and ranged, and just he's a nuisance, and it's awesome that he's so good.
If you have
his
him.
S3 is a little bit goofy in that if for whatever reason your enemy doesn't or has flinch resistance, he will jump up into the air and do the entire skill above people's heads and then come crashing down into the earth. He still kills people because the end of it hits so hard. But yeah, he'll entirely whiff like most of his S3.
Pretty much
if your opponent can't be flinched.
Avoid his S3 until pirate ship effect goes away.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Or like if you know they've got a SM Theria who's got their barriers up, like just make sure your first attack is actually going to launch them, because otherwise you're going to waste the majority of the potential of that attack.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you guys want to commit to a PvP podcast next week? Because Krypt, I know.
Unfortunately, I think next week is going to be all about the new unit.
You think we could? You think the whole episode?
I mean, dude. I mean, we've already been talking for an hour. Like, it's like that doesn't take much.
This one did fly. This one flew.
I mean, we talked about all the like new content in the UR arc this time, and like how to get it, and that's a pretty involved process.
It is.
So
I'm glad we did.
I'm not surprised it took up a whole hour.
Would you mind discussing about the banners that are coming out right now, though, and what?
No, not at all. No, I mean we can run
these
15. We can run 15 over or
so
whatever.
What to pull, what to not.
Yes.
I think a lot of people are going to be confused about what to pull on.
Sure.
Especially newer players thinking like, oh, this DBR banner looks awesome. It's not.
My boy Bray is just not what he was on release already.
I mean, he's still incredible.
He's still incredible. Yes.
But like, my take on it, because somebody sent me a message at 4:00 in the morning the other day while I was asleep, and said, "Hey man, should I be pulling for Kyle and his UR, or should I be pulling on the Super DOH?" I think this was like 2 days ago, so this was before all the new stuff came out. And my answer to him was, well, if you want or need Kyle, absolutely go after Kyle. If you want or need anything, like if you're not after something specific, the Super DOH banner is still extra high value.
Yeah.
It still has the highest chances of pulling a UR, just not a specific UR.
Correct.
It has chances of pulling all the best units, just not the highest chances, So it depends on where you are in the game. It depends on what your needs are, just like everything else. And that's one thing that gets me. Like, people ask so very often, they're like, well, how do I build this, or how do I do this, or who do I pull for, or what's my best team, or whatever.
Well,
it's like, well,
what do you have?
Right.
That's always the first question.
What do you have?
Always.
Give me more information. Unfortunately, I need every bit of information available before I can answer that question for you.
Which is nice, because it proves the point that there is no one team, team build, one character that is the best. There are team comps that are so useful. It's all situational.
And especially now that we've got content that uses permanent characters only. Now that we've got content that uses monster characters only.
Yep.
There's a whole lot of just wonderful opportunities to build stuff. And people, like Tweacz said the other day, he hates watching me build units because I do it like an ape. And it's true. I go through and I flip things until I find something that feels good.
Yeah.
Am I looking at the numbers? Often not.
Right.
Am I always trying to cap? Often not. I have other goals in mind for these builds. And that's the thing about this game. Like, there's so much ability to tinker. Like, switch it on, go test it out. If it doesn't work out, try something else. Find a different switch.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are robbing themselves of that
experience,
the joy that is that.
Yeah.
In favor of getting things done quickly or easily. And I mean, I feel like that's not really what this game is about.
No.
The quick and easy thing has never really been its objective. It's always been a long, long road.
Yeah.
And I say it very frequently, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's the path of the turtle.
Yeah, we're making plans like a week from now. We're making plans like a month from now. Although now that the character grind is accelerated as much as it is, I don't think I have any plans further out than like a couple days from now. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to do when I finish the stuff I'm working on now. But yeah, no, it's just such a wonderful experience to rob yourself of. And I'm not saying don't ask for advice.
No,
advice is good.
No, because
we're not going to be able to do the whole thing for you, nor should we have to. nor should you do that to yourself.
My most rewarding experience is when I have an idea, I test it, and then I ask you guys, and you're like, "Oh yeah, no, that's you're right. You're on the right path." And then I'm like, "Yes." Right. I like to test a lot of the time before asking, just to see if my headspace is correct or on the efficient path. I guess I'll say. So anyway. You were talking. Okay, so I mean, is that the consensus?
Banner specifically about the new banners, not the reruns of the main shift cast, right? The shifts of the main cast. Now, who do you pull on? Who do you want to look at? Who are you preparing for? Emtheria. The unfortunate part about this is, from here on out, all of these units are going to be power crept. Honestly, except for supports.
Yeah.
We're going to get new units that replace, unfortunately, Shift a little bit. Shift Zekis, DP Ray. We're going to get DPS. I mean, Shift Zekis probably had the more longevity of it all, just because he has a little quirkiness to him. And quirkiness lasts. So, little keyboard ASMR, very nice.
Sorry. I'm trying really hard to type like quietly.
No, you're good. It's just funny. But like the units that are going to last are going to be the sports. And Emtheria is unarguably the best unit in the entire game. Unfortunately, Aidis has decided, I don't know if it's a glitch or not. I really, really hope it is. But you cannot pity these units.
Oh.
The pity metal shop.
It's only gear.
Is it joke?
No. It's prisms
For 300. It's prisms for 300.
300.
Also, what does that tell you about how they value the paid pulls? Because it's either 300 free medals or 20 paid medals for a prism.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
The Kyle banner also has prisms for 20 paid pulls, which I don't mind that. I think that's great. I think it's wonderful to have, like, okay, essentially every 2 paid pulls I do, I am getting the value minus souls and a prism of a dupe, and that feels really good. That's like, okay, I have definitive goals. I know every time we get this. Every time we get this. It's not just spending without target. And that feels great. You know, I chased a bunch on this and got a bunch of stuff out of it. But the valuation on it is super weird as compared to how they think free-to-play players should be interacting with these prisms.
Like, the fact that you could not save 90,000 free crystals and get one of these characters blows my mind.
Yeah.
I think this is a terrible, terrible way to implement pity. Because this isn't pitying anything. It's pitying a prism.
They're going backwards from what we're asking.
This is not good.
Yeah.
This is really not good.
In that aspect, absolutely.
This is like 10 steps backward.
Evaluation of this, right? So we were talking when this first came out. When we heard the news of this, I think it was Tashi and I were talking in the chat and maybe some other people. But we were discussing what evaluation of these prisms would be for free players. Okay. Now, when you think of a dupe and you think of pity, okay, 300 crystals. All right, that's always been a thing that's pretty standard. I get 300 crystals for a pity, but for a prism, I don't know, 100, maybe?
50.
50.
50 at the most.
I wouldn't say 50 just because 20 is paid. I get it. I get they want to value that a little bit higher. But 100 is for if you spend 30,000 crystals, you should at least be getting a prism.
So my thinking behind 50 is that if you go to 300, right, that gives you all of the main character prisms on your way there. I think there should also be characters in there, right? Like, all of the characters should be available for 300, and then all of the prisms should be available for, like, 50 to 100 is probably fair. But that's another thing where it would be really cool to get rewarded for having saved. And, okay, cool, now I get to roll 300 times. If I get all those characters, I also get a bunch of prisms for them. If not, there's other stuff in there that's, worthwhile or whatever.
Yep.
But, no, this is a terrible precedent, and this is definitely backward. Even for Aidis.
This is pretty bad. I mean, I would have understood if they didn't release like the pities. If like only DB was pitiable right now, I would get that 100%. But he's not even pitiable. Like the fact that they're not adding the characters to be pitiable during their banners is
blasphemy.
Wild. That's 90,000 crystals for a unit that is on a rerun.
We're gonna take one step forward in how we handle a bunch of stuff, and then we're gonna take 15 big old steps back.
Yeah, this is the most massive.
URs finally have raid ups. Pities are screwed.
This is by far a really bad look on them. I don't understand it.
Almost,
I don't think it's reasonable at all.
It's almost worse than just not offering pity at all.
Yeah.
It's like a slap in the face.
It's a slap in the face. Yep, 100%.
It's like y'all have been complaining too much. Stop being crybabies. Here's a terrible, terrible deal. Like, I don't. Okay.
I think this is probably the worst choice they've done in the entire.
This is like the worst choice since Tsukasa.
This is like the worst choice since we've been starting the podcast, and this is like the one thing that I'm like not happy about at all.
This is the dumbest thing they've done in 2 months.
I don't know. I mean, that's not a long time, right? But like, I don't need any shit. But for the people that need this, that want this stuff, that have saved, and we've told to save, because it's a rerun. They should be pitiable. Like, I don't get it.
The majority of people, they're spenders, like you guys and, the big heads, the big whales, don't need this. And if you're
No,
a
not
new
even a little bit.
player who is willing to open your pocket to then pity a unit that
Who's
you
gonna
weren't
buy
around
this?
for, you're gonna what? You're gonna buy a prism for a character you may not even pull?
Right.
What the? Wow.
And I don't know if obviously this doesn't look like a bug because it's straight up prisms, but like I wish they would
Oh,
say it was a bug because it's pretty bad. It's really, really bad. It's a bad look. It's not good. They are doing a terrible job of implementing these because that's
I'm gonna post the podcast and then I'm gonna cut out a highlight for this exact segment and like post it again. Cause
just all of us being super confused about what's going on.
yeah, I
so
mean,
bad.
holy crap. Okay.
Just the title can just be a bunch of question marks and exclamation points.
Yeah, because that's
Aidis?
insane. That's insane. Because obviously I wasn't interested in this pity system at all, so I didn't even take a look into the shop. But wow.
So here's the thing. What I'm hoping is that the intern screwed up.
Intern Coon!
Here's what I'm hoping. Because we do have, Krypt said before, we do have the prisms in the shop for
20?
20 paid credentials. Okay, now keep that in mind. I'm
Are you
hoping
telling me a 10
there
pull
was-
is worth 150 pull? Like, what? Anyway.
there was a confusion and they copy pasted accidentally the same format into here. Now, I'm hoping they screwed up and they pasted the prism stuff in here as the 300 pulls because this is ridiculous.
It's crazy.
I would allow it if they screwed up. Okay, if they screwed up and people bought this already and they refund them and they give them the actual pity or like the pity for it, great. But do not. This is nuts. They're on rate up. You should get them within 90,000 anyways. But the fact that there's not a pity on a rerun for each of these units is nuts. I don't get it. Don't get it. Not one bit. It's stupid. This is the worst thing that's happened in the 8 weeks that we've been doing podcasts, and it doesn't even affect me. It just affects the entire community.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's insane. Okay. Wow. Well, I was going to say, we should wrap up, but I kind of want to go back to Kyle. Are you guys busy? Are you guys busy?
I got time.
Listen, I'm not busy at all. I got nothing to do but go back to sleep later because I didn't sleep enough because Bloodborne is consuming my entire life.
Oh, are you going to stream later? You stream too late for me. Right now. You stream Bloodborne too late for me, Krypt.
Oh,
I'm in bed.
Buddha
I mean,
needs his naps, bro.
I could potentially switch into Bloodborne like after the podcast. The problem is and I'll be real honest, people don't care. Anyway, go on. Back to Kyle.
Back to Kyle. Specifically, just two things that I just looked down at my sheet and realized I didn't bring up.
Go ahead.
Kyle versus BBShin and Kyle versus Dante. Where should we start? And how should we approach this?
All right. Kyle versus BBShin. Let's just straight off the bat. BBShin is horrible in PvE. No cap races, even conditional ones, like no cap races. And I mean, cap races on single wield, right? We've discussed how good dual wield is in PvE. He is relatively in the same area as Kyle is, which dual wield is much better. BBShin is trash in PvE. He is fantastic on early levels when he is super high strength and he can just maul everything. But once you get to like the final levels and later story, he's trash. BBShin is one of the best attackers on offense in PvP, bar none. Attackers, okay? If he catches a stray DB Ray, a stray Rogue with an S3, yeah, he will murder them. He's fantastic. But Kyle's still going to be the meta PvP. With his defensive capabilities, with his protection, with everything. So Kyle versus BBShin, completely different units, not really comparable. Kyle's better in pretty much every area except for doing damage on attack. Versus Dante now. Kyle versus Dante. Dante is actually a pretty awesome attacker. Not in PvP. He's not really useful in PvP, so we don't really need to go in there. But PvE, Dante gets a huge cap raise right up the bat. doesn't take any charging up. You're going to be dual wielding both. He just hits for fat damage. Also a pretty good breaker, so not pretty comparable there. I mean, if you have both and you had to choose one or the other, who do you need more? If you need pure DPS, I'd go Dante.
Yeah.
If you need a little bit of protection, if you need a little bit of team support, if you need a little bit of everything, Kyle, for sure.
But even breaker-wise, Kyle, with that plus 50% break time, it's not even a competition, I don't think.
Right. I mean, the break time especially is good, but I mean, their breaks are still relatively comparable. I would still go Kyle if I was choosing between them, just because I have other PDVS that can follow that role. But Dante does have insane damage.
Yes.
And he does cap very, very easily and starts off with a very high cap. So for the battles that you aren't going to be very long and you aren't going to be abusing Kyle's damage cap, Dante will by far start just off the rip, do a lot more damage.
I agree. I can't argue that. Talking damage right out of the gate, Kyle is not meant to do that.
Nope.
I mean, it's literally in his trait. You can see why.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and without name calling, there's no other way to abuse it. Sad. Makes me very sad.
That is the easiest way to abuse it for sure. There's a couple other techniques, but like you don't.
Please enlighten me, because I wanna abuse it.
You can forbidden book on a mage and hurt yourself. You can secus down to 1. I mean, that only works once.
Use your other.
Yeah.
Your other.
No, you can forbidden book and like healing wind spam. I think if you can get yourself down into the red and just do it over and over and over again, and like SCT battery it with spirit breath and barrier constantly. And yeah, there's different ways to like lower your own health.
Okay.
Probably the easiest way to do it is running Shift Zekis. Now I'm thinking about it, probably Shift Zekis with that armor.
Shift Zekis with that armor and forbidden book.
Shift Zekis with that armor. I mean, I know Berserker and Militia of the Dead are percentage health drops.
Put Ifrit on him too.
Put Ifrit. I mean, Spirit of Ifrit, Berserker, Militia, because you can't die from those. I don't think so.
And he can't die with mana.
All right, and then you use Proud Force and you get them all back the HP, and then it just nukes them again. I mean, it's just funny. But definitely the easiest way is name giving and Forbidden Book to drop 70% HP, heal right back with Hemtheria. That's definitely the easiest way. It's just a little niche because it's on a collab arc, you know.
Sadly.
You could also theoretically do that with Lily, because she has auto heal.
Yep,
basically anybody can auto heal.
Lily?
Yep. Lily has auto heal, yes.
OG or Shift?
OG.
Oh, I just pulled her.
She has auto heal. She can drop once she drops all the way back down. She can down to 30%. She auto heals right back. Yep. Yep. Her and Hemtheria are the two easiest to do it with. And in which case, I started off actually doing it with Lily, and I forgot Hemtheria even had auto heal because she never gets low, so I just forget about it.
She sits on full health all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is happening here? Why can't we kill her?
It is pretty funny.
Nope. I mean that. Oh, go ahead, Krypt.
I was gonna say there were instances in the mother fight, and this is another thing that's really frustrating about that fight. Sekis died while he had mana left. So did Hemtheria. So they killed me so hard that it bypassed their auto healing and damage stop mechanics. That fight is stupid. Anyway.
Whoa.
I'm not salty. Salty.
Not at all.
You don't sound like it.
No. You sound very calm.
Very rational right now.
No, that sums it up. Thank you for addressing that, because you guys are much more articulate than I am and more experienced.
I never built Dante.
I don't have Dante, so honestly, I can't even or BBShin, so I can't even really speak on the argument.
I think my Dante knows basically everything, and he's definitely got the souls to be. I think he already is ADSC, but like 6th Awaken. But I never bothered building him. I was like, don't need him. I've got V now. He's the solution to literally every problem.
Right.
And that's still kind of true.
Yeah, V's pretty much one of the most busted DLCs come out lately.
Oh, he's so good.
He's very, very good.
He's
So
yeah.
good. And if you don't have him, Logi is great, and if you don't have him, Affliction DXR is budget V.
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
That's funny. I have Loug.
And at least like one of those things is free, entirely free, DXR, right? One of those things is permanent pool, so you're very likely to get it. And then one of those things is V, and if you don't have him, enjoy waiting. Also save up.
I was gonna say I might go
saving now.
ham on him, but I don't know if they bring back DMC and include Virgil. We'll have to see.
Swear to God,
We'll have to see.
I quit. I'm
Don't throw that out there. Don't even put that in the
Why?
world. That's just oof. That's gonna be.
I have never played the game Virgil is in. I know basically nothing about him. I am already sick of hearing about Virgil.
I have never played either. My extent
Oh my
of
God.
DMC is watching like one video a year ago on the final fight in DMC 5. And I must say, Virgil looked very cool.
I don't understand. I don't understand why he has so many like
Fanboys.
hardcore fans. I don't get it.
It's because he's the antagonist, I believe. He's the cool, the Sasuke. He's the Sasuke.
Apparently it's a big thing in Teppen too, according to Horrible Chopstick, who's big in the Teppen community, which is like the I almost said Marvel. It's the Capcom like action card game on mobile.
Okay.
Teppen's a really cool game, by the way, if you like deck builders and stuff like that. But anyway.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, fun little tangent. Guys, I don't.
Unless you got anything else.
I don't have anything else specifically.
I mean, next week is specifically, we're definitely talking about the new unit next week.
Yeah, guys, don't forget there's a new unit around the corner.
Also, M-Theory banner's out next week, so the fact that they put those two back, like side by side, I think is on purpose. It has to be on purpose.
Some wild speculation here. Are we putting on the wild speculation hats?
100%. I think it's after learning a few things about next week. I think it's 100% purposeful. So be ready for that.
I have no idea what you're talking
with
about.
your gems. With your gems.
No idea what you're talking about.
No.
Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. You should have read the podcast. Yeah, that's what you should have done.
Don't worry about it.
I don't even know what are we talking about? I forgot.
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
Literally nothing.
Anyway, guys, I think that's all we got for you this time. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you to my co-host, as always, and all of you who came out to listen. This will be interesting. I think I'm gonna start cutting and chopping out segments of these and then posting them as individual discussion videos. I think that'd be a cool thing to do. So look out for those on the tubes. And y'all know what we say. Work hard, play harder. See you in the next podcast.